All right, well, welcome again to the 2020 NFL Mock Draft. With me, I have Adam Engel, Miles Metter, and Alex Schmidt. So I think we pretty much all know what's going to happen. So the first pick in the draft is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I have them taking none other than Joe Burrow. He had arguably the greatest college football season ever with 5,600 passing yards, 65 total touchdowns. And, he was born for this role in Cincinnati. He was an LSU Tiger. Now he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. So he needs to go by the name Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. All right, so next up, Alex, you have the Washington Redskins at number 2.
I think that this pick's pretty obvious. I think that the Redskins are going to choose Chase Young out of Ohio State. He's just a defensive nightmare. Like, if you're a quarterback, you should be scared of Chase Young.
Yeah, most certainly. All right, so I have the number 3 pick again. What happened is we have the Detroit Lions trading with the Miami Dolphins. So the Miami Dolphins are going to give up picks number 5 and 18 to the Lions to move up to number 3. And this is a much anticipated move. I think a lot of people think this is going to happen. And so I have the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to have them take Justin Herbert. I personally
Wow.
Tua Tagovailoa is the better prospect, but a lot of teams have moved him off of their draft boards because of that hip injury. And then also some recent stuff that has come out with his Wonderlic score, which is an intelligence quiz that the NFL does, that scored really low. So I think Miami, while everybody said that Miami was going to get Tua, I think they're going to go with Justin Herbert. So, Miles, you have the 4th pick with the Giants.
All right, so wait, so who you picked? Okay, so it's been Burrow, Young, and Herbert. Got it. I'm picking Isaiah Simmons again because I still think he's the best defensive player in the draft. Yeah, I'm gonna say that he's best. He's better than Chase Young, but I think he is just a perfect fit for New York because they do need a guy that can play defensive end at times and he can play linebacker because they do need that in that position. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a guy that's going to be really hard to pass up on if you get the opportunity to take him. I mean, he can play so many different positions. I think he lined up 11 different spots for Clemson last year. And I think versatility is something that every good NFL player needs. All right, so Adam, you have your Detroit Lions at number 5. I think we all know what they're going to take, but who do you have them taking?
Yeah, it's not a surprise here. Jeffrey Okudah, Ohio State. One of the top cornerbacks in the draft. So pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody else is even considered for that spot at this point, no matter where they trade to.
This guy did.
It's going to be Okudah. All right, so at number 6, the Los Angeles Chargers. Go ahead, Alex.
I think that the Los Angeles Chargers will pick up a quarterback in the draft. I think that they'll pick up Tua Tagovailoa. I think that Tua can bring some excitement back to the franchise, which is much needed. I think that his arm it's good. I think that he will be a good pick for the Chargers this year.
Yeah, I would agree because right now I think their starting quarterback on the roster is Tyrod Taylor, and you can't have Tyrod Taylor leading your franchise. I mean,
no, you can't.
It tried with the Browns and Bills, and it didn't work out. So I don't think a change of scenery again is going to work for him. But all right, number 7, we have the Carolina Panthers. Adam, take it away.
Eric Brown, Auburn.
Eric Brown.
Wow,
that was quick. Any reason why?
Well, I just wanted to switch it up a little bit. I still, in the last draft, I still had Simmons at the spot. Alec took last draft. I just kind of put Javon.
I took him.
I put Javon Kinlaw just kind of on the spot.
Yeah.
My second choice was Derek Brown, who also was taken. So
Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense with Carolina
Yeah.
losing both of their starting defensive tackles in Dante Poe and Gerald McCoy. So I think that's definitely a position that they need to fill. All right, number 8 is the Cardinals. Miles, who do you have them taking?
So is what's his name? Let me go back to round 1. Is Okudah still on the board?
He was taken at 5 by Detroit.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Okay. So I will take I'm going to take Javon Kinlaw, DT South Carolina, because the Cardinals they need defense. They need a cornerback, but I'm not gonna go risking getting CJ Henderson or anybody like that. So
yeah, I that's going to be a pretty smart move in my opinion. Their defensive line is aging, and they need to find some people to fill in there. So at number 9 is the Jaguars. I've been back and forth on this pick. I was going to take Jordan Love out of Utah State, but I think really I'm going to want to move forward with Gardner Minshew. I don't know that he's the best guy for them, but I think they are going to move forward with him. They need some offensive weapons. They really do. But I think the most important position at this point is going to be offensive tackle. So I'm going to take Jedrick Wills from Alabama to protect the blind side of Gardner Minshew. So next up is Cleveland at 10. Alex, why don't you take us through?
I think that Cleveland needs a guy to help protect Baker Mayfield because we've seen that Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback whenever he has time and space. So I think that they take Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. All around, he's a big guy, 6'5", 320, and he has the skill set to be a great offensive lineman.
Yeah, this draft has a lot of talent at the offensive tackle position, and you could see up to 3 guys potentially go in the top 10. It all depends on where teams fall on them, but I think that's a really good pick for Cleveland, especially with the way that Baker Mayfield struggled last year, and I believe he was sacked 40 times. Which says a lot about their offensive line. So, Adam, you have the Jets.
Yeah, once again, this version of the draft with the trades is pretty parallel to our first mock draft. It's going to be Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle, Louisville. So, like I said, 6'7", 368 pounds. He's a huge man. He's a force to be reckoned with.
I like the pick. It makes sense. I think that's going to be a good pick for the Jets, but I think you could see them also go the wide receiver route, possibly.
I mean, the argument is all of this draft class is insanely deep. So yeah. I feel like if they're going to go for a wide receiver, they can definitely wait for that.
Oh, I believe that most teams can wait, and some will choose to wait. All right, Miles, you have the Raiders at 12. What are they going to do?
All right, so I'm going to go with a receiver. I'm guessing I did not listen to Alex. Did he take CeeDee Lamb?
We don't have a single receiver off the board yet.
CeeDee Lamb is going to Las Vegas. That was who I
Lamb?
wanted to get the first time. It was taken. I wouldn't say he's the best receiver, but I think he would be a better receiver in Oakland, considering I just think I don't like Oklahoma, so I think he could be good.
That's an look. I think you can't go wrong with either guy if you're going to get CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. Both are extremely talented and played with really good quarterbacks throughout all of their career. I think the Raiders, which I believe they'll be in Las Vegas, need some sort of flash on their team. They don't really have a starting wide receiver, and pairing him with a guy like Josh Jacobs is going to be really, really special, I think, and it's going to help Derek Carr out a lot. So next up at 13, I have a trade. San Francisco is trading back to 21, and the Eagles are moving up to 13 and also sending their third-round pick at 103 to San Francisco. And the Eagles, they need wide receivers. They really do. So I'm going to take Jeudy from Alabama. Nelson Aguilar just left the team, and there's a lot of talk about a potential trade of Alshon Jeffrey because, there's some locker room issues there. And I think Jeudy is going to be a guy that if the Eagles bring him in, Carson Wentz is going to have a reliable target. So he's going to have two really strong targets in Zach Ertz and Jeudy. All right, Adam, at 14, there's another trade. The New England Patriots are trading up to where Tampa Bay's at and sending 23 and 87 to Tampa Bay. So what do you have the Patriots doing there?
This is going to be kind of a surprise. There was lots of talk of the Patriots taking a quarterback to begin with. So Jordan Love, quarterback from Utah State.
Yeah, that's a good pick, I think.
And, the reason I say choose him because, the Patriots are at an interesting spot because they're at 14, originally 31. Jordan Love seemed to be one of their targets, maybe even a second-round pick. But, hey, if he's there, why not,
Exactly. I think their starting quarterback is Brian Hoyer at the moment, I think.
Yes.
And Jordan Love he kind of fits the Belichick mold because he's not a big school guy and he hasn't really been proven. Yeah, he's a first or second round talent, but he hasn't really proven that he can play at the next level. A lot of people compare him to Patrick Mahomes, which I think is lazy. I really see him as a Josh Allen. And I think Jordan Love, with Belichick, the Patriots might be able to win that division again next year, which would be a huge letdown to the Jets, the Bills, and Dolphins. But I definitely think that's something that they could do. So you're up once again with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, we're going to stick with the same position as last draft. Different player, though. Henry Ruggs III from Alabama. He's a player that was atop the list for a lot of riders in their mock drafts. The Broncos, they've been looking at him very closely. He's just, a solid wide receiver from Alabama.
Yeah, Denver already has Courtland Sutton, and he's a tremendous receiver.
Oh, well, that's the whole thing is John Elway, it seems to me that he's finally agreeing to build around Drew Lock. He was impressive. He went 4-1 last season. So just more weapons, just more aerial weapons.
When you have a young quarterback like that, you need to build around him. And Henry Ruggs is one of the quickest. He will be one of the quickest players in the game right off the bat. He ran a 4.25 40 at the combine, and he was just a tremendous player at Alabama, and I think he's going to continue that in Denver.
I agree completely.
Miles, you are up with the Atlanta Falcons at 16.
Okay, so I know Henderson, the cornerback, has not been taken yet. I'm going to do it again. C.J. Henderson, cornerback, Florida. I'm going to stick with this.
A cornerback has been taken.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Okudah. That's right. Oh, well, the next best cornerback in C.J. Henderson. The Falcons just need a cornerback. I'm going to take them like I did last time.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pick that's going to be a heartbreaker for a lot of Cowboys fans. I would love.
Oh, they can keep on crying. I don't care.
I would love to have C.J. Henderson on the team. I think he's a tremendous player. A lot of people actually have him graded above Jeff Okudah, which I don't agree with, but he's definitely up there on Okudah's level. So at 17, I originally had Dallas taking Kayvon Chaisson. This is going to be a little bit of a reach here, but I'm going to have them taking Trevon Diggs, cornerback.
Wow.
Alabama. The Cowboys just lost Byron Jones in free agency to the Miami Dolphins, and right now the top corner on the team, you can argue is Chidobe Awuzie, you can argue it's Anthony Brown, but we really don't have a distinguished number one corner. And I think Trevon Diggs, while he's a little bit of a raw talent, is going to be able to come in and force turnovers with this new defense that Mike Nolan is bringing to Dallas. All right, so Alex, you are up again with the Detroit Lions. This is their second pick after they traded back from 3 with the Miami Dolphins. So take us away.
Knowing that the Detroit Lions have a lot of defensive needs, I think that they take a good linebacker in Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma.
I like that pick.
Even though Oklahoma's defense itself was terrible all across the board,
Yeah.
Kenneth Murray was a very good bright spot for them. I feel like he's very good.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. And I mean, you look at he didn't really show up until the Big 12 game against Baylor, but he played really well in that first playoff game as well, despite getting absolutely destroyed by Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers, who went on to win the national championship. But overall, Kenneth Murray really impressed me towards the end of the season. All right, so the Raiders are up again. Adam, who do you have the Raiders taking? Keep in mind, CeeDee Lamb at 12.
AJ Terrell.
AJ Terrell. I know that's
he was the player I wanted to target for the Raiders in the first draft. That didn't happen, so a little bit of second chance opportunity.
Yeah, I think AJ Terrell, there's that conversation between him and Trevon Diggs, like who's the better of the two as that third premier corner in the game. And it's really a toss-up. I mean, they're both really good players, and they've played against very good quarterbacks. And that's the key, is to have experience, because when you're coming to Las Vegas with the Raiders, you're facing, Patrick Mahomes twice a year. And that's not something that's going to be easy to do. And in our case here, you're facing Tua Tagovailoa twice a year, which you faced him in the national championship game last year. So I think it's a very good pick, and I think it makes sense for Las Vegas. Apartments.com. All right, Jacksonville. So Miles at number 20. Who do you have the Jaguars taking?
They need defense. I'm not gonna go with what I did last time. So, it's tough. I'm pretty sure. Clavon Chase, is he still on the board?
Clavon Chase is, yes.
He is. Oh, yeah. He's going to Jacksonville. He's a good defensive end. They need defensive ends. They need defense overall, but I think he'll be a very good player in Jacksonville.
Oh, I agree with you there. Jacksonville has this issue with Yannick Ngakoue, who is their current right end, and he doesn't want to come back with the team because they're not willing to pay him. So I think Jason is a guy that's going to be able to step in there and be your day one guy. And if he lasts that long, I think Jacksonville, they pretty much have to go there. So next up is me with the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have a lot of needs. In our first version, I had them taking Henry Ruggs, but that was when they were at 13. They're no longer at 13. They're now here at 21. So I'm going to have them take Justin Jefferson, who I originally had the Eagles taking at 21. So I think he's going to fall here. Justin Jefferson he had a tremendous final year at LSU. In that game against Oklahoma, he had over 200 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns, which is absolutely unheard of. And then he had 100 in the national championship game. And I think this is the guy that can really step in the slot for San Francisco. They just lost Emmanuel Sanders to the Saints in free agency. So you're going to have Justin Jefferson lined up with Deebo Samuel, and I think that's going to be a really good pairing. So next up is the Vikings at 22. Alex, who do you have them taking?
The Vikings defense wasn't stellar last year, so I have them taking Jaylon Johnson at cornerback. All around, he was really good in the secondary for Utah. Yeah. I think that he will help a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And they just lost Xavier Rhodes to the Colts, so they have to find somebody to fill in that need. And with Trevon Diggs, AJ Terrell, PJ Henderson, Okudah, all of them off the board, he's probably going to be your next best guy. And I think Minnesota probably can't afford to wait. So I think you're going to have to take – you're reaching a little, but I think you got to take a corner there. So next up is Tampa Bay, and I believe that is Alex again. Correct? Yes.
Yes.
So who do you have Tampa Bay taking?
I have them taking Josh Jones from
Interesting.
Houston.
From Houston, yeah, the offensive tackle. That's a smart pick.
I mean, with Tom Brady coming in, they need somebody to protect the line.
Yeah.
And he's a big guy, 6'5", 319. So all the time that they can give Tom Brady is for the better.
He completely shut down our defense last season when we played Houston. Like, it was just shut down.
It was.
Here's the thing, though. I know you said offensive line. Aren't there better out? Like, isn't Wirfs still on the board? Like, aren't there more stronger options there?
Wirfs was taken at 10.
Okay, and
Josh
then
Jones is probably going to be your best option there.
Okay.
Andrew Thomas is still on the board, but it's kind of a toss-up between him and
Okay.
Josh.
Austin Jackson of USC, the offensive tackle.
Yes, he's also out there.
what about Jedrick Wills? Is he off?
Yeah, he's off the board
Okay.
at 9.
Okay.
All right, Miles, you have the Saints at 24. Who do you think they're going to take?
Yeah, so I am going to take Zack Baun, defensive end.
Great pick.
Defensive player, Wisconsin. The Saints, I drafted Queen
Great
in the
pick.
last one, but I think Baun is an overall better player. He can play multiple positions also.
Yeah,
I think that's
true.
something
He lines
that's needed
up-
for New Orleans.
Yeah, he lines
I
up
love that pick.
at the end. Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a really good pick. Wisconsin is known for having star defensive players, so you really never go wrong with a Wisconsin product. All right, so I am up at 25 with the Minnesota Vikings. So they took Jaylon Johnson at 22. This is a tough one. So they just lost Everson Griffin in free agency, and it's been a toss-up with AJ Epenesa and Yetur Gross-Matos. I think I'm going to go Epenesa here. He's really talented. I know he's a guy that a lot of people consider to have some risks, just because they don't think he's that polished. But he had 32 tackles, 11.5 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles last year. And being able to get over 10 sacks in the Big Ten is actually it's a real accomplishment. I mean, the Big Ten produces some of the best offensive lines
I
in
agree.
college football, and overall some of the best teams in college football. So I think AJ Epenesa is the guy to go with there. You can really do a lot of things there. You could take a wide receiver if you want to, but I think you can afford to wait in this draft class. So let's see. We have Alex up with the Miami Dolphins at 26.
Knowing that the Miami Dolphins will probably draft a quarterback with their second pick, or not second, yeah. I think that they're going to pick up Andrew Thomas from Georgia.
Okay.
He's just similar to Josh Jones. He's a big offensive lineman. He's very talented. And to go up against SEC defenses and relatively stop them, I think that it's quite impressive. And I think that he could do a lot for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, and they, of course, I have them taking Justin Herbert at 3, and that's going to be important to protect whoever you put in there, because a rookie quarterback needs to have some sort of protection, because we've seen what happens when young quarterbacks don't have good protection. You can look at RG3 for the ACL in the season where Baker Mayfield hasn't had good protection since his rookie year, and he's struggled ever since. So I think if you're going to want to build a successful program, you have to give your quarterback some protection.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick is the backup, correct?
Yes. And if Fitzpatrick for some reason starts, he's 38 or 39. So you still got to protect somebody. All right, Adam, You have the Seattle Seahawks at 27.
Yeah. Wait. Hang on. I thought it. Wait, did I already pick number 19 for the Raiders? Yeah, I already. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know who the heck. Okay. I have Josh Uche, Michigan, the edge.
That's an interesting pick. A lot of
He's
people have
quick.
him in the second round, but there have been some first round grades on him.
I mean, if he's there, which he will be. Ideally, if I'm the Seahawks general manager, I would like Zack Baun there, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a smart pick. He had a decent career with the Wolverines. I can see him going there. It's not too big of a risk considering he's considered an early second round guy. So it's not like you're picking him at like a 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good pick. All right, Miles, you have the Ravens at 28. What are they doing?
So I'm going to be a little interesting. I'm going to pick T. Higgins, receiver LSU, because
I like
Higgins, they need another receiver besides Hollywood Brown. And I think T. Higgins is the better receiver. I think he's better than Marvin Mims. Yeah, very good pick.
Denzel Mims, yeah. I mean, I think, Lamar Jackson is coming off an MVP season. He was great. He pretty much quieted all the haters who said, "Oh, he's basically a running back." He pretty much shut them up. And I think adding talent, because right now, like you said, Hollywood Brown is your top guy, and I think after that it's Willie Snead. And they just got rid of their second string tight end. So Mark Andrews is a great first tight end, but you got to add something else there. So I think T. Higgins is a good pick. All right, at 29, I have the Tennessee Titans. This one's a tough one. So the Titans need a corner, they need defensive end, they need offensive tackle, and they need a linebacker. Man, I don't know. Considering he fell this far, I'm going to take Jedrick Wills. A lot of people have him going there from Penn State because, there was all this talk about them getting Jadeveon Clowney, and it's not out the window yet. But Clowney is wanting about $17 million a year, which is ridiculous for a guy who had 3 sacks last season. So I think the Titans, the biggest issue that they had last year was their defense. They had a great offense with Tannehill, AJ Brown, Tajay Sharp, and Derrick Henry. And I think fixing your defense, you have a guy, Mike Vrabel, the coach there. I think he's going to want to focus on defense to just help try to propel them to a Super Bowl season. They almost made it last season. I think they have the talent there to make it. Now they just got to get there. So next up is Alex with the Green Bay Packers.
Knowing that Aaron Rodgers isn't getting any younger, I think that since he's not a running quarterback, I think that they're going to take a speedy wide receiver in Denzel Mims from Baylor. He can create space really well in the open field. And if he can break through, he's going all the way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think pairing him with Devontae Adams is going to be dangerous. Adams is really, really talented. He's one of the best route runners in the league. And Mims, the thing, when I watch his tape, it seems like he's a vacuum cleaner. Like, you throw the ball to him and he's going to catch it. Like, it's not that he has an issue with dropping the ball. He had a great year this past season with Baylor. Of course, their season was cut short in the Big 12 championship by Oklahoma, but I think that's a great pick.
In my opinion, Denzel reminds me a lot of a guy like CeeDee Lamb from OU, too.
He does, definitely. All right, Adam, you have it was originally the San Francisco 49ers, but considering they have a gap from 31 to, I believe it's what, 150 something?
155, I think.
Something like that, 155, 156. So the 49ers are actually going to trade back, and they're going to get picks 43 and 163 from the Chicago Bears. The Bears are going to move up. They didn't have a first-round pick because they traded it to the Raiders in exchange for Khalil Mack. So who do you have the Bears taking there?
I have them taking Kristian Fulton, the cornerback from LSU.
Good pick, yeah.
The interesting pick, but I like it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. The Bears secondary has struggled.
For sure.
I mean, you look 2 years ago when they made the playoffs. They had an amazing team. I mean, Khalil Mack was in the running for MVP. You had Eddie Jackson and Adrian Amos back there.
Buster Screen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had so many good players on that defense, and they kind of fell apart after that double doink by Cody Parkey, which, in all fairness, it was tipped. But they kind of fell apart after that. So I think Kristian Fulton is a really smart pick there, and I think he's going to pay off for the Bears. All right, so the 32nd pick is the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Miles, who do you have your Chiefs taking?
Okay, so this is tough because I don't want to pick Damon Arnett again because I just feel like I have to be different.
I mean, you don't have to, but
no, but I feel like I have to be different. So I was going to get Kristian Fulton. He's gone. So I'm going to take Jeff Gladney, TCU.
Gladney. Yeah, that's a smart pick. He had a pretty nice final year there at TCU. He only had one pick, but he had 14 pass deflections. So I think in the NFL in general, you're starting to see a lot of corners shift to being locked down and not necessarily getting turnovers. So if you look at a lot of these guys, Kristian Fulton, Jaylon Johnson, AJ Terrell, Jeff Okudah,
Bryce Hall,
can turn the ball over, CJ Henderson. These are all guys that didn't have more than 2 or 3 picks last year, but they had a ton of pass deflections. And so the NFL is shifting to not necessarily turning the ball over, but getting the ball away from the receiver. And if you can get a lockdown corner on what the Chiefs already have, is they already a Super Bowl caliber team. You don't need anything but Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, really. But they already have a tremendous offense. You could try to go for a running back there, but they have Damian Williams, so it's not like they need to do that. That's definitely something that can be addressed in later rounds. Secondary needs to be addressed. Really, the defense is the biggest issue with Kansas City.
Defense and tackles. They have lost so many tackles to injuries. I can't even count. They had probably 6 offensive tackle injuries last year.
Yeah, and with most of the guys off the board, it would be a reach at 32, unless you wanted to take an inside guy at center offensive guard like Cesar Ruiz from Michigan. But I think that's definitely going to be a good pick there for the Chiefs. So that concludes our mock draft. Thank you guys for participating and entertaining this idea on such short notice. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll come back and do, the NBA draft here in a few months. And yeah, well, keep in mind the draft is the 23rd. It's Thursday night, starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be a fun one. So
it's going to be live from Roger Goodell's basement.
Yeah,
so
live from Roger Goodell's
it's going to be awesome. I'm
It's
ready.
going to be interesting to see how these teams
I
deal.
was just going to I was going to say interesting. That's the exact word I would have used.
Yeah.
So.